Let's do Reeverse and Crow.
Sure.
All right, we're back. Going Flop podcast, battle number 3 of 4 from what was the event? Match day 2. Premier Battles Match Day 2. We're back. Shouts out to all the staff. I genuinely really enjoyable event, man. I had a great time again. Big up and a custom jacket, obviously. Starter. But yeah, let's kick this off. Reeverse vs Crow. Really good battle. Give us some thoughts, bro.
Yeah, I'm really happy, obviously, to get the win. To be honest, man, it was a battle. I felt for me, there was a lot riding on it. Like,
what was right? Like, what do you mean?
I don't know how plugged in you are with all of the PB season thing, but basically, I wasn't meant to be in this season in this Division 1 tournament thing in the first place.
Meant to be Raptor.
Yeah, it was meant to be Raptor. I got called in to replace him. And so if I'd been sort of called in as a substitute and then he lost my first battle, that really isn't a good look for me. So I felt like, yeah, it was sort of a must-win scenario. It was my first judge battle, my first sort of...
Wow, really?
Well, yeah.
Shit, no way.
My first judge battle, my first like time limits, all of that.
Okay.
So just like a proper different, really different process for me, man.
Yeah, man.
A lot higher pressure.
But to say, were you more nervous? Yeah.
Yeah, and to be fair, I don't know if I was more nervous, to be honest. I feel like every time I have a battle, I'm more nervous than the last. But then I think I'm just
Really? You're more nervous each time?
But then I think I just forget how nervous I got last time. And really, I'm just like at max nerves every time, you know what I mean?
Damn.
But yeah, it was my first time as well, like writing for someone who I kind of knew, who I've met before, who I chat to. So, which is a really sort of different experience from my perspective.
Yeah. But, I mean, I guess that translated on the footage, like, that it wasn't, there's no hatred. It translated that it was just like, you're both nervous because you wanted to do well, but it didn't feel like what we just talked about with Mocha Visual.
Yeah.
Beef and this and that. It was just like, I feel like, as much as it was a good battle, I felt like neither of you were that keen to battle each other, really.
Honestly.
It felt like you just kind of had to do the battle, like...
In all honesty, yeah. Like, I never would have wanted to battle Crow.
No.
To be honest, I thought that me versus Crow was a battle that should have happened on Don't Flop, because that's where we tried out, and that's where... I don't know if that's where most of his battles have been, but certainly, like, from the newer crop, we're two sort of Don't Flop guys,
associated with Don't Flop, as well.
But yeah, the way the whole match day worked out, we had to face each other, and from that point, it was just sort of fine. Just get right, unless you can do better. It was just a competitive thing. Yeah.
So round for round, let's go through your round 1.
Sure.
We have to, in your round 1, we have to talk about how many times you practice reverse cowgirl. I mean, that's the biggest pause I've ever said in my life. But we have to. For anyone who doesn't know, for anyone who, I was about to explain it, but take them through like what I mean. You got a huge. I was just saying a huge bang, but you got a huge. Today is the day of pause. The title of this episode has to be something to do with pause, because there's next level pause today.
Just pause the video now.
But again, there's certain bars every event. You're like when we were talking to Quill with the magician, how many times you practice? Like when I see you, like you swagged out the thing about saying your girl was doing reverse cowgirl. Like how many times did you practice that? And was it awkward to practice that out loud?
In all honesty, bro, that was one of the last things I added in.
Right.
So I'd run pretty much every other bar more than that. But yeah, like I practice like I'm not somebody who's like running my bars when I'm walking to work or anything like that.
Really?
Like
Not
yeah,
too
I'll
tough.
just if I get the house to myself, then I'll rehearse at full projection a couple times, and that's it. I'm not running it.
So do you
every
think
day
your memorization
necessarily.
game in general is just quite good?
Yeah, I think I'm just fortunate. I've got a pretty good memory.
I have the same.
It helps that I write early as well, so don't get me wrong. Like I did run it a bunch of times. It's not like
Well, your memorization is not bad, man.
No, but I memorize. I go over my shit a million times with my memory.
Right.
Yeah,
Same.
no, like
So you're quite lucky just a few times. Do you feel like you memorize your shit as you're writing it?
100%, especially because like
You have to run it while you're writing.
yeah, exactly.
Until it's done.
I think that could be a tip for a lot of people,
Like-
run your shit as you develop
Always,
it.
Dude,
yeah.
like,
No, not everybody does that.
When you
Not
got your
everybody
first
does that.
16, you spit that,
No,
and then
no.
when you got your next, you
Literally,
I don't.
like
I get
I don't.
sorry to cut you.
Go on.
Sometimes you know when you might be different, but if I've got like my first minute and I know that and I want to run the whole thing, but I don't know the second half, I'll just start it from halfway towards the end of the part I know, so I don't have to bother because I know.
Yeah.
Like,
I'll be doing the same thing. Like,
So how many out loud practices do you usually have, and like for this battle, how many full rehearsals?
to be
do you
fair,
have?
this one I practiced and rehearsed the least, and I was the latest prep that I've ever been.
You seemed confident.
Just because I've well, thank you guys, but no, I just had some. I've been busy personally in the process of building up for this, so I haven't been as in the battle rap headspace as I had been for previous opponents. So I probably ran these maybe 10 times, 15 times, something like that.
do you feel like
that sounds like a
That's
lot,
not-
but that's actually fuck all.
I do that more than
Yeah.
I do more than 10, 15 times in a day.
On the
sometimes.
day off in the
like,
shower.
In the shower.
Don't get me wrong, I'd have read the bars more than that, but out loud, full rehearsal, sort of doing actions and that, 10 or 15 times probably.
Okay, so that was probably your moment of round one.
Yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like was a reverse cowgirl. Talking about memorization, unfortunately, Crow had a choke.
Mm-hmm.
I was
Yeah.
gutted about that, not just because Crow's my guy, but when I knew it was going to be a great battle.
And
I
I
was
had
like,
the round as well. That's something that hurt me.
Yeah.
so unfortunately, he had a choke, which almost automatically gave you round one, but you may have took round one anyway. And you never know.
Yeah, I
You'll
mean,
never know. Like.
No, realistically, and I'm not coming here to like, you know, I'm not going to talk shit about Crow's performance. I thought Crow did well.
He did it
Easily
very
my toughest opponent yet.
Without a doubt.
I think I would have taken round one anyway, if nothing else, just off that bar. Like that was the biggest bar of the battle.
Yeah.
And I felt like his round one was probably his weakest. Like he was cooking, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he built up as much momentum.
What I
as
think
me.
you needed to do, and this is a tiny criticism because that stuff you said about you're saying my finger game is not good enough.
Yeah.
That actually popped, but I think that would have popped even more if you spent a little bit of time explaining Crow's character. Because I laughed like a motherfucker at that because
you
I
know
know
it.
Crow
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
know
yeah.
how seriously he takes rapping. So I was dying at that shit. But I feel like people in the audience kind of laughed because it was quite funny and cheeky.
Yeah.
But I think you should have given them a bit more backstory of like you are so serious
Yeah.
as a human being, and it would have
Like,
gone even more.
to be
'Cause
honest,
it went
man,
crazy.
like-
Like you, what was it you said? You said something about
Oh,
you
so
tell your
like-
girl like it's not it's your pussy's the problem, not my hand, or
Yeah,
something like that.
the
like.
bar was.
And as I
yeah.
said, if you know Crow, amazing,
It was-
amazing.
Yeah, like picture Crow with his girl, being Crow with the crowd to try to understand it. She's like, I love you, Patrick, but you can't please me in the bedroom. It's time for something drastic. And he's over here like, my finger movement is fire. It's not my fault your vagina doesn't catch it. Yeah, like to be honest, like
That's so fucking rude. That's so fucking rude.
that was the first thing I wrote, I'm pretty sure.
But he had a great first round. Unfortunately, he had a
Choked
fire
up, yeah.
first round, but he fucked it up with that choke. He
He
choked
only had
like
like four
bars, bro.
He should have called time.
But the ender was so sick, that's why you were trying to get it back. But when you say fuck and I've forgotten,
Yep.
call time.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
don't say
Don't
fuck.
say fuck.
Don't
Yeah.
say fuck.
Don't say fuck.
If you feel like you're about to say fuck, say time.
Yeah.
I've done it a couple times, no one's ever clocked.
Yeah.
Jersey.
I've clocked stop rounds early because I'm like, don't know my bar. Time.
Yeah. There
better
are
off
ways
saying time.
to hide it as well. Like he even had a stumble, I think later in his third, might have been his second.
He did.
Where he was sort of jumping around like, what is it? And then to be fair, like in the room, I don't think many people caught it.
No
They were
people
still
clocked it. He
reacting.
masked it so well. You could tell it was, but then he just got it back in the moment. And I was
Yeah,
like, fine,
yeah.
Fine, if you
fuck
can
that.
do it in one, bro, if you can speak fuck, I got it, and do it, bro. People just don't want to hear gaps of silence.
yeah.
If you can say fuck 10 times and get your bar back, people will laugh and it will just even seamless.
I've forgotten my bars every battle I've done.
You serious?
There's been at least one moment.
Including 2 days ago.
There's been at least one moment where I've said, "What's my next bar?" But you just
Spoke
don't let the
about this,
crowd
yeah.
know that.
So
Yeah,
scary.
we spoke
Yeah.
about this.
So scary.
I've never had that.
You just
never
I've
had
had that a bunch of
Never.
times. I've had that a bunch of times, but I didn't
Yeah.
with this one, and I didn't know a lot of my stuff like tip top. But yeah, no, I remember. Like I can remember. I'm good at memorizing. That's what I've realized. Like I'm really good at memorizing. Like even on the last 3 days, I was adding new shits or changing orders, and I can still remember it.
But it's peak. It's very peak for Crow that he choked. And the fact when he told me afterwards it was 4 lines, I was just like, bruv, what the hell are you doing, man? Like, you had such a nice opening round,
wanted to
bro.
wrap
Like,
you around that exact way.
you want to do it the way. And
For
again, it's
sure.
kind of what Reeverse was mocking Crow for, that he needs to have the shit done in the way he
And
needs to have it
again,
done.
like what you saying, like you got the vibe neither of us wanted to battle. I think if we did battle on Don't Flop, we wouldn't have had like strict 2-minute time limits and something like that whole vagina doesn't catch it thing. I'd have made a whole round out of that, you know. Whereas in this, it's like I had so many ideas that I had to condense. Like almost every 8 bar I spat would have started as a 16, and every 4 would have started as an 8. You know, and I felt like I was really just chopping
it's good
things.
for you as a writer to always know how to condense your stuff.
Sure,
Someone
yeah.
Used to write long rounds.
Right.
That's what I like about these time limits. Like 2.5 minutes, I was like, and that's why memorizing for me 2.5 minutes is fucking simple.
Yeah, because I overwrite all the time. I wrote like 12 minutes of shit for art, and I had to condense it down to just 7 minutes.
Yeah, man.
It was long.
I'll spit a 7-minute round, so spitting 2-minute rounds for me now.
Legend has it you're still spitting your first for shots.
Somewhere.
So round 1, you think you probably would have taken it, but he did his thing. Minus the choke.
Well, I thought, not going into it, I thought my round 1 wasn't my strongest round going into it.
It was neither
But
of
on
your
the
strongest.
day,
Neither.
On the day, I felt like that was the round that went down best. Maybe you guys felt different,
But lyrically, it was neither of your strongest rounds. But you both did well.
It was the biggest reaction.
Yeah. I felt like I got my biggest reactions in the first.
Yeah,
That reverse cowgirl.
Yeah.
I looked up at Rivers and he went.
Yeah.
That in itself is a pause, but when I heard Reeverse Cowgirl, I looked at Rivers and he went.
Okay, I gotta hold that. I gotta hold that. I gotta hold that.
That's what it was. That's what Rivers said. That's what Rivers said.
I'm so done.
He said, "Scoop, let me hold you at Reeverse Cowgirl." Man, I love that. Love that. But you killed it. So with that, like, was that? I don't even know what to fucking ask. It was just such a unexpected moment,
right?
Like, because your whole style is very kind of breaking you down, taking the piss, and then out of the blue you drop the most sexually explicit line of the day, and everyone was like, "Whoa!"
Can I tell you what? Actually, I brought a mate of mine to this event who'd never seen battle rap before. Never. Well, I brought a few mates, but basically none of them are battle rap fans. And after my first round, I heard one of my mates ask one of my other mates, "Yo, did Eddie actually fuck Crow's girl?" He just didn't know you could lie in a battle.
He didn't know you could lie.
It has to be
really
true. It has to be true.
Yeah.
Oh god, if only that was the truth that you couldn't lie.
Imagine.
God, everyone's right.
I'd have still spat that bar.
That's brilliant. So yeah, anyway, moving on to round 2. Again, it's always moments for me, and I feel like we'll probably be in agreement. The moment of round 2 for Crow was setting up the whole scheme on Shuffle's book. You bought Shuffle's book, whatever, and then saying, "I'm gonna hit your stomach with a rusty hook, rip it out, and study your appendix like you did with Shuffle's book." I was like, "That's the Crow I'm trying to see today, man." Like, so that was my moment. But if any of you got any other moments, let me know. But for me, I just think that was the moment of both of your rounds for me, because he was so aggy that he choked in round 1. He came back and just, I told him, I was like, "What? Every battle you need to improve, right?" And I feel like he improved so much. His performance, his delivery has always been loud, but performance, stepping forward, back, left, right, here. The choke fucked him up, and he was like, "All right, let's rap now." You know what I mean?
Was it that round he said the Windows Live bar as well?
I think that might be
That was the
first. Sorry, the Outlook thing. Woo.
That was bars.
But yeah, anyway, so what other ones will we fucking with from round 2?
Yeah, I liked that bar. I'm kind of tired of hearing about that angle, to be honest. But I thought that was probably the best I've heard someone do it.
I'm gonna tell
I
you
know,
that
man.
right
I
now,
know,
bro.
but
You got a row left of it.
it hasn't worked yet, so maybe they'll give up soon. But yeah, no, like I liked his material. I thought he approached it well. That bar in particular, I thought was good.
Appendix bar was serious.
Yeah. I actually really liked his thing in the first about the whole speech impediment thing. Like, no one's come at me with
Why is this
anything
a
like
repeat
that.
angle have you about Shuffle's book?
So long story, man. But basically, it was like I came into this with like no videos online, nothing, and it was mentioned
Through
in my...
Shuffle co-signing him.
Okay.
and it was mentioned in my tryout.
So it
and
is
then-
a fair angle. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I get why people
legs
use
in
it,
left.
Yeah.
but it.
So you're a shuffle baby.
No, man. So it was basically that I came like there's nothing about me online really,
Yeah.
and then that was said in my tryout, and then since then that's been like everyone's just used that.
But kind
since.
of what I said about Shotty, like dissing Shuffle with the stab bar, I feel like next guy battles you either has to have a line that betters that. Because whether you like the line or not, the reaction shut the place down. It was so loud. Even one of those weird ones where watching it back on camera this morning wasn't actually as loud on camera as it was in the room. In the room
Right.
when he said that, like the way he performed
Was it a proper haymaker?
popped,
I
bro.
don't remember
It
that popping
popped,
hard.
trust
in
me.
the room.
Appendix bar.
The appendix bar,
Yeah,
and
fair
it had
play,
everybody in the
fair
crowd.
play,
We
yeah,
were
yeah.
all looking at each other, being like, "Why the fuck didn't I think of that line, man?
Yeah,
That's fucking
yeah.
fire." But it's
Yeah.
like, it's same thing what I said with the stab bar. Like next guy who clashes you, they can do the shuffle angle till the cows come home, but they have to do better ones than what Crow did. And I'm not sure how many more there is left. You know?
Sure. Yeah.
The angle's gonna die hard, bro.
But so what were you feeling about your second round?
To be honest, man, going into the battle, I thought there was no way he won the second round. Like, if I'm being real, I thought I was pretty happy with my first. I was very happy with my second, and I was so about my third. And I think the second is probably the one he took, if he took a round. Yeah, I didn't anticipate, like, I dropped some bars that I really thought would get a much bigger reaction than they did. And some of my stuff got a very mixed reaction. I was obviously going off his whole American thing. And the whole thing about, like, his dad being in the Air Force, obviously it was a ridiculous, gimmicky comedy angle. I think some people thought I was kind of being serious, was making some political statement, whatever. Like, there was some sort of booze and ooze at times.
I think there was a lot of new fans.
Yeah.
That event as well.
There's a few every event now, and you need to take that into
There was a
account.
lot
Like,
this
Yeah,
one.
dude,
There was a lot
yeah,
this
there
one.
is.
feel
I
like
genuinely, I heard,
20,
like,
Yeah,
there
I
were
would
a
say
lot
about
of
that,
people
yeah.
I'd never seen before.
Yeah.
And so
a lot.
I had a bar, which to be fair, is probably like the most kind of outrageous thing I've said or whatever. But I was like, oh, at that point he got shot, math class and whatnot was the joke, right? And I heard like in the front row, like 4 girls literally just look at me eye booing me when I said that, and it was yeah. And I actually just looked at them and said shush, but
Yeah, you
which I
gotta do
wouldn't.
Straight,
No, you
shut
gotta
up.
do
Yeah,
that,
I can't
bro.
do that.
But yeah, that was something that I thought. To be fair, I wasn't even planning on that getting a big reaction. I thought that was a bit of a get that out of the way. That was just a transition to my next bar. But I didn't think there was some stuff that I said that I felt, yeah, people took a bit serious maybe. But it's probably the people who haven't been at events before.
Yeah, I do think
so-
that there was a mix at this event. Which was
Yeah.
good. Which was good though. Like, at least you're getting new fans. There's a lot of girls in the building. Shouts to the ladies in the building.
Even the ones that want to be up George Rich.
Even though the ones that want to be
Especially
up
that
George
one.
Yeah, shout out especially the girl that stuck it on Johnny Reed.
Yeah.
May have been the same girl that didn't like your school shooter bar, possibly.
No, man.
Was
It
it not? No.
Different girls.
So there's
yeah,
a
yeah,
lot of hating women in the building.
Yeah,
She's the main
yeah.
event in Squad.
She'll definitely feature in a lot of battles going
Yeah,
forward.
yeah.
But maybe her face won't be on camera. But yeah, so you kind of felt like your second round was weaker than your first round, or?
So, well, no, going into it, I thought my second was my strongest, but like the reactions I got just weren't as good. I think also Crow kind of and it surprised me actually because I made that comment after his choke, oh, this is going to be easier than I thought,
Yeah,
kind of thing.
that was cheeky as fuck.
Which was I'm fucking glad I didn't choke after that. Imagine that.
So cheeky.
But that was very kind of
That was
disrespectful.
So rude, bro.
But I thought exactly that. Like, if he's choked, I've come back with the most disrespectful thing. Like, I thought I would have had the room there for the second.
You said it
and
with
I
such a
didn't.
straight face, you know. Man said
Yeah.
that's gonna be easier than I thought, and I was like, "Wow, don't have it." I just said,
Yeah.
"Crow, don't have it. Don't have it,
Like,
please."
and then I done a flip after, and I really thought, like, now I'm going into my strongest round after he's just choked. I've made a comment, I've done the flip, all the momentum's back for me, and it just didn't really go how I thought. Like, I'm still happy with it, don't get me wrong, but I thought that would have been like the best round I ever spat, and it very much wasn't.
So then moving on to round 3, had my personal favourite reverse bar,
Mhm.
the battle, which I think you know what I'm going to say, which was the rhyme scheme of Bird and Autograph.
Oh yeah.
Amazing writing. Definitely Shuffle T influence writing, not in a disrespectful way, but 100% Shuffle T and Marlo influence writing.
Sure.
But maybe my favourite shit at the battle, I think my favourite shit from Crow would have been the shuffle book.
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
So I'd love the rap element of it. For you personally, that third round, I feel like it was pretty even. Bar his choke, it was pretty fucking even.
Yeah.
And I think you really started to push yourself out with that one. With the writing was just top notch. You couldn't look at those bars written on paper and be like, that word should have been there. It was just like, there you go, there you go, there you go, there you go, there you go.
Yeah.
So that was my favourite part of your third. But did you have any other bits of your third that you were just happy with, unhappy with, whatever? Like But to be clear, for anyone who hasn't seen the bar, what is the scheme? You say you're talking about Crow's slogan, which is about leaving a feather, and then you basically say, why are you leaving an autograph? It's a calling card. It's a this, it's a that.
You leave a bird and an autograph. That's absurd as a calling card.
Have
Is
you
it
ever
absurd
heard?
I could forge your art? Have you heard of a watermark?
That was the one that got me. Have you heard of a watermark? Like, it was just a joke. But, what else did you fuck with for your own shit and his shit and whatever?
Well, yeah, so my third, I changed my third quite a bit last minute because it was a bit long, basically. Well, fuck's sake, man.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. You been getting this since the battle.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
honestly. I got paused in the battle as well, man. No, so my third was like sort of 2:25, something like that, and I wasn't sure. I'd asked if we have like a grace period. I kind of think 30-second grace period is standard. I didn't know if they were gonna be like marked down after 2 minutes kind of thing. So I cut a load of stuff from my third, which in hindsight I wish I spat because Crow rapped longer. But yeah, so basically I had that kind of angle, that whole making fun of his slogan for the first half of the third. And then I thought Crow was going to have an angle about me just doing comedy, me not rapping kind of thing. And so I tried to come with a bit more kind of punchline heavy stuff for the rest of the third. And to be honest, that was some of my favourite material, but it didn't necessarily, it didn't go down badly at all. Like, it didn't pop like...
But that's
like
a story for every
thing,
battle you ever do, bro. The shit that in your head, you're like, this is the one, it's never the one. Never the one.
Always, honestly.
I don't say that still.
Really?
I didn't think...
There's certain bars I've written.
You're like, that's the one.
That is a haymaker.
Never
If
for
you
me.
don't
Never
react,
for
if
me.
you don't react to this, but I've got for that follow you home for the charger. If the room did not react to that, I would have been like, oh my days.
Yeah.
I would have walked out.
I just... Personally, I feel like...
I've had ones that didn't.
I think you're the anomaly there, bro. I think most people, they have a scheme they think is the one and it's never the one,
Jem,
bro.
do I not always say to you what bars are going to bang? Yeah. Every time Jem tells me something, I say, that's going to bang, that's going to bang.
Did all the stuff for Kojay you thought was going to bang, bang? Or most of it? Not most of it, what, like?
I feel like now I write different, so some of my stuff isn't like... It doesn't need to bang, like some of it, and it's like... I don't know.
The Liz Touch thing, I told him they are going to erupt.
Yeah.
Your favourite line was the Houdini. I didn't know about the scheme because I don't write schemes and I'm not a big fan.
I knew I was going to bang because it wasn't a trash scheme.
Yeah, but I'm still not a fan of them. But I did like it. Like, it made a lot of, like, And fucking... There's something blue. I didn't know.
You're never going to get
I just didn't know if it was going to work, so I was happy it did, innit? Like, and I thought of it very, very, very last minute. Like,
So what stuff did you think was going to pop that didn't pop? I mean, I don't think you got slept on in the whole battle. What got slept on more than you thought?
Nothing I spat got crickets. Like, everything got some reaction. I had a scheme like, was like an 8-bar, that the last two were like, because this talent pool's deep, but there's a loan shark within it, and you'll need a lot more than a crowbar to kill it. I thought that was gonna go off, especially because like that's like the most I've ever like rapped in a battle. You know what I mean? That was like 8 bars with cadence on the same scheme, like in a kind of flow pattern like we'd spoken about before. And I thought it was gonna be like, okay, he's doing this, and it was kind of just like, oh yeah, that was good.
I was being a hater the whole battle, bro. I'd never spoken to Reeverse before, and obviously I know Crow.
I've
never spoken to Reeverse yet, and I was like, why is this guy so poised and so, like, I was like, fuck him. I was like, fuck Reeverse. Before the battle, I was like, fuck him up, Crow. And then when he said the Reeverse cargo bar, I just pause. I just nodded at Rivers like, yeah, this guy's fine.
still sounds wild.
Yeah, but
you paused after.
And I think you both. It would be interesting at Crow's thoughts, but same thing with his third. Maybe it got less reaction than he thought. Maybe it did. Who knows? But I absolutely loved in Crow's third round when he said, he said the imaginary boxing match, and he said, and we got Reeverse fighting out of a place of privilege. Like, that was cold, bro. Like, this is what I was telling him after the clash. I was like, bruv, you needed that every round, bro. I was like, every 4 bars, you need something cheeky like that, brother. And you need to not choke your best 4 bars at the end, bro.
I thought
that was an amazing
really
bar. I don't know how, and he said he was describing himself, I'm this, and we got Reeverse fighting out of a place of privilege. Amazing, bro.
I didn't like, before that he said like sporting a vaguely racist image.
That's okay. You've got a vaguely. I think that's quite accurate for you.
No, man. I've again, that's just one of them things I'm sick of hearing.
Maybe you are, but I mean, I think
every opponent I've had,
a lot of shit, bro.
every opponent I've had has just said you're racist, you're shuffle T, and I'm.
No, but I think he got it accurate with the word vague. You have a vaguely racist image.
You reckon?
You know what it is? I'll tell you why. Because perception is everything.
Yeah,
for example,
no, don't get me wrong. I get why they do it. I get why
perception is
they do
everything.
it.
Like, don't get me wrong. I always say to people who are not really out there or go out, but
you're vagueist.
Yeah.
Vaguism.
I like that.
Dude, I would have 100% flipped that if I'd gone second, by the way.
Yeah.
And I really, but normally I don't care if I go first or second. I really wanted to go second against Crow, because obviously I was making fun of his slogan. And I think my third would have hit a lot harder if he just
already
spat
said
the third.
it, yes.
So this is the only time I've ever cared, and it's the only time I've ever lost the coin flip either.
Oh shit.
So yeah, that was just bad luck.
Yeah, that would have been so. So you saved it for your third, hoping he would have said.
So I had different. I had 2 versions of the opener to my third, depending on if I'd gone first or second. And the one for if I'd gone second was a lot harder.
But yeah,
but my favourite, he cried a bar in that round. He wanted to book me in a property ladder match. I thought that was hilarious.
Brilliant.
Like
that was
fucking fire, bro. Like, he's a great writer. This might be one of his years where he blows up, man.
No, he is a crazy writer.
I will say this, and I keep saying to people that he doesn't get as much credit as he deserves, bro. Yeah, Crow is actually fire, bruv. Like, he comes up with something and he's proper dedicated to the team. Like, if anything, go and watch the battle with Terminal. He flamed on Terminal, bro. Like, the guy's a talented writer. I just feel like obviously he's new. People don't really, people like who they like, but trust me, Crow's cold, bro.
No, he's a good writer, man.
Yeah.
I do feel sometimes his delivery for me doesn't connect. Insofar as like. Yeah, like the property ladder match bar, like that's a really funny line, and he delivered it like it was like a gully punchline kind of thing. Like, they booked Reeverse in a property ladder match, and it's like people will respond to your stuff better if there's a little more awareness of what it is.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And do you feel like you're getting more aware of that with your writing now? Like, what needs to be stressed, what needs to be unstressed, kind of?
Yeah, and yes and no. Like I think. The Carlton Shanks battle was the learning curve for that, and ever since then I've kind of had an idea of like, I need to take myself a little less seriously, kind of thing. And since then, like, everything's been so much more like being received well better, just because, like I say, I stopped delivering everything like it's the hardest line I've ever spat, and I still feel like Crow. I think he is a crazy writer, and as I say, best opponent, But if I'm giving him a bit of criticism, like honestly, he fucking burst my eardrum shouting "Windows Live" in my ear, and there's something about that. Like, as great as the line is, you're shouting "Windows Live" in my ear.
Yeah, it's like
can't
the
be
massive
that hard,
battles where someone's got a haymaker and it's about like a teddy bear or Tickle Me Elmo's, and you're like, you are actually a grown man screaming "Tickle Me Elmo" in my face. Like, I know what you mean. It's like this is a nice wordplay on Windows Live, but it's just a computer software. You need to. Do you know what I mean?
Like so,
Don't say this like it's a bar about stabbing me or something.
Literally, I really fuck with Crow's
the
writing.
energy he had with the Rusty Hook thing is great because he's doing imagery about fucking you up. But maybe when you're saying kind of like what you said, property ladder match, maybe smile a bit more. Say a bit more,
exactly.
jollily, if that's a word. You know what I mean? But yeah, definitely.
That would be my sort of main criticism of him. But no, I thought he had really, really good material. As I say, I think the angles were predictable, but equally, there's not that much to go off with me.
Exactly.
I'm new. There's not that much about me.
That, like, unless
and the
you
material
want
was
to
the best.
Really go at you. You know what I mean? Unless you want people to really, and he even said that the stuff he had about your school, he had loads more, which he chose not to do.
Oh yeah, he had crazy research on me which he didn't use.
Yeah, and he said he chose not to because he was like, it's just a battle. There's no point taking the piss. You know what I mean? So I feel like he had some nice angles on your school with some funny shit. Oh, yeah, you say it's tired angles, but he did at least extend it a bit.
Don't get me wrong. Yeah. Like, it's the best material.
They know each other.
What's that? Sorry.
No. He says how. Dirt is not just something you chat about in person.
Oh,
Crow definitely did some research.
He did serious research. Like,
How did you do that?
He was showing me. I don't even know if I want to say this. I don't even know if I want to say this on the podcast. But he scrolled through on his phone after the battle. He was showing me videos of me giving presentations in school.
Say something
Fucked up, bro.
Videos of me.
My mate came into the event. My mate who I invited to the event, and Crow already knew who he was.
Nah, Crow, you gotta get out.
Crow's a fed.
Crow's Jake.
Honestly,
nah.
Can you imagine that?
He come up to me afterwards and he was telling me what my GCSEs were and shit.
I'm scrapping.
Yeah.
Any battle rapper comes up to me with this.
No battle rapper will come up to us. No, you're never gonna have that problem. No battle rapper's gonna tell you.
I got a C in dialect.
You got it fucked up.
Hey, any battle rapper coming to me with that much dirt, I swear to God, we will fight.
Yeah.
But nah, Crow had some dirt on you, but he showed a level of respect. Like you didn't say anything too crazy about him. Like, exactly, you didn't go. You could have gone more in on the American stuff. You could have gone in more on him working for Don't Flop. You could have done loads of things. You kept it like
we both just kept it rap.
Cool. You had a great balance. Like when you said like we both put in work on Don't Flop, but I'm a poster boy in a different way. That's what I mean. It's just like it's not kind of like what I'm saying. The visual about sometimes about like taking ideas that you're just clumsily gluing them together, but that was just straight up like you're a graphic designer, I'm the poster boy. It was like bang, done. We all got that. We all laughed. Like, yeah, that was solid, man. It was a solid clash. Man. Like I feel bad. Crow's my boy. Like I feel really fucking annoyed. I know this sounds crazy, but I wish he choked like 25 bars, 26 bars, 30 bars. Like I'm fucking so angry. He choked 4 bars.
Because he should have called him, man.
Should have called time.
And he gave me a lot of time to think of a rebuttal as well.
Yeah.
I had after what I said as well, I had something like 40 seconds to think of like 2 bars on the last thing he said, you know.
Yeah. Let's get some final thoughts starting with Jem. What do you feel about the clash? And then we'll move on to the next one.
I think it was really good. I wish I could have seen it live. But the only battle I got to see live was Ark and Scoop. But I've always liked Crow's like style. It's like he's a heavy writer, obviously.
Yeah.
Like,
long-term rap fan, definitely.
But I do think Reeverse took it. I think Crow told me as well on the day as well. He's like he thinks he lost because I think because of the choke he wasn't sure. But I do think the writing in it from both sides was really good. Which I haven't actually watched many of your battles, so it was really fun for me to actually watch it. And I think you got the biggest reaction of the battle as well. And I think in judge battles, that's what you're trying to do.
Moments.
Yeah,
man.
Like,
He got a moment.
You're trying to have moments and crowd reaction, and you're not really trying to be too over the head. I feel like in judge battles.
I think if you're matching up from 3 rounds, in my personal opinion, if you're matching up just one moment versus one moment, you're matching up his Reeverse Cowgirl versus the book, and I think that wins. That is what it is.
Because it's more applicable as well in the sense where it's like, people like me, I had to ask him now. Yeah.
Crow did give a criticism in hilarious Crow fashion on Twitter. I did see Crow be like, I just I want to break down the bird and an autograph segment to say that I never actually said I leave a bird. That was like, you don't understand
I didn't see
how
that.
meta this is that Reeverse is talking about you being too nitpicky, and you're nitpicking a bar about nitpicking. Like, Crow said that he likes the line, he knows why it popped off.
To be honest,
he did want me to mention that he never said he'd leave a bird. He said I'll leave a black feather.
I only said
so fucking stupid.
I said the feather thing obviously loads of times when I quoted it. I only said bird for the rhyme scheme, to be honest.
It's great. It was amazing. But yeah, some final thoughts on the clash, man.
Bro, you know what? I was, even though I was like you, I was so annoyed with that 4-bar, so pissed. But I have to give. You see, in these kind of battles, these judge battles, you did everything to win that battle.
Trust.
So there's nothing I can take away from you. You went in there to win and got the dub. I do think Crow deserves the utmost respect because a lot of people weren't giving him the credit he deserved, and I do feel on the back of that performance, even though we took an L in the decision, a lot of people will give him his respect for what he can do, and you know, I think Crow really, really did himself solid. I think he obviously beat himself up for the 4 bars or whatever, but you know, we live and we learn. But your poise and how relaxed you are in a room is of someone that's top tier, like that's been here for ages.
Facts.
Like ages.
I think that's a pretty commonly said thing about it right now.
It's like you don't look as if to say you're alarmed to be there. You look like, yo, it's game time. And I like your defense as well because you keep your straight faced. Like straight face. I say, yeah, fuck it.
Even when he mentioned the school, which you could tell you were probably a bit like, damn, like you still were.
Yeah, just
when the battle ended, I was with you both, and you were like, "Bro, what the fuck?"
Yeah, literally.
But in the battle, you kept it how you should. Man.
Yeah.
So, final question: what's one thing you're going to work on for the next battle? You.
To be honest, man, I was gonna say I think everything I do will be better next battle.
Yeah.
Just because, as I say, I wasn't too motivated to write for Crow. The time limits and everything. That was my first judge battle. Still adjusting to trying to make everything a bit snappier. I think what I'd do differently next battle is I'd probably be more comfortable doing more stuff like my third. Like I was worried with that whole slogan stuff. I thought that was gonna be like people might think that was too nitpicky and sort of like too kind of like.
Only
like,
if he'd had
you know
one
what I
battle
mean?
and said it. When he said it in 25 battles, I think it's fair game, bro. It's fair game.
Fair, yeah. But like we were having the discussion about like dissecting the visual bars and round bars and all of that. Like I thought people might not fuck with me breaking down literally 2 bars for like 16 bars. You know what I mean? Whereas now I kind of understand now. Like as long as what you're saying is good, people will fuck with it. And it's that simple. So. I'll just be more comfortable to write what I want to write in the future.
And you gotta trust your own process as well. Like I think a lot of battlers get fucked up there when they start doubting what's good and what's not.
Yeah, man.
Because the lines start getting blurred because it's all wordplay, it's all stuff
for
like
sure.
That. And what makes one wordplay better than the other once you've done 1,000 of them?
Yeah.
That's why. Yeah.
No, I hear that, man.
Complicated, but I think it was a great battle.
But no, like. Yeah, I was happy with my performance. Obviously pleased to get the win. I think Crow did really well. My best opponent yet.
And who is your next opponent?
I shouldn't say that yet.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, somebody I'll be very happy with. Basically, I'll have to improve to beat him.
Nice. What's the main thing you need to improve on to battle this next person?
I don't know, man. Probably. I know, but now I look like a dick. Like, I don't need to improve on anything. I really don't know, to be honest, man. I'll have to watch it all back. Like, I personally felt less comfortable and less poised in the room against Crow than I have in my previous 2 or 3 battles. I don't know why that was. I'm not a huge fan of the venue. I don't know if it was that. I wasn't wearing my glasses. I don't know if it was that. Like, it could have been anything. Like, as I say, I didn't really want to battle Crow. Maybe it was that. For whatever reason. Yeah, so for me, there were a lot of lines that I didn't perform how I wanted to perform. And to be honest, like, I'm obviously happy I got the win, but realistically, I think my performance could have been a lot better. There were some bars that I said too quietly, some bars I should have been looking at the crowd, I was looking at him, etc., etc. So I'll just make sure I'm more polished, more refined, more, you know what I mean, more in the moment.
That's what's up. Crow, I love you, bro. Unfortunately, you took the L, but love the Reeverse, man. It was a great fucking battle. Big up all.